My name is Dakota Thomas.
And I am Doug Caputo.
For our media issue, we had the Flint water crisis. During this past year, the small city of Flint, Michigan has been going through a crisis. Families and children have been suffering from contaminated water through lead poisoning. In this first picture, you can see a set of old rusty pipes. These pipes run through the undergrounds of Flint, Michigan that lead to local restaurants and small businesses, local schools, and the homes of thousands of residents who live in the city of Flint. These waters have been going through to houses in these businesses and have been injuring several hundred people through lead poisoning. Thousands of families are out of clean water and have to rely on donations of water jugs or gallons and water bottles for drinking. As you can see in this first picture, it shows a lady that has to install a brand new pipe system in her house. Because of the contamination of water, her pipes are now useless and they will not do what they are supposed to do by keeping the water clean and safe. During the past year, families have been drinking and bathing in poisonous water. This was not an unavoidable natural disaster. It was a man-made catastrophe. In this picture, you can notice how the water is a dark brown color. This is a clear sign that this water is contaminated by lead and no need should be put on any human contact. In this sink, you can notice how the water is also the same color. Through washing your hands, a drink of water, or even washing your face or any parts of your body puts you at the risk of having lead poison and can causing yourself to become very ill or even the people around you by skin-to-skin contact. And in this picture, it shows a very young girl who has to wash and bathe herself through a washcloth that has been rinsed through a water bottle with soap and other ways to cleaning yourself. The most important responsibility of a government, local and state, is to keep your people healthy and safe. Flint, though, has failed to do so. You can notice how the urinal on the left has particles in the water and is also the brown colored notice in the previous pictures. This urinal is found from a public school in Flint, Michigan. On the right, you see a fire hydrant that also has the same colored water that has been affected by the lead poisoning, which causes fire departments not able to access this water or any other sources of water that could help when a problem occurs. According to Congressman Kildee, he says Congress should act with no delay to help these families recover the long term from this incident. There are local rivers and lakes that run around the Flint area, and these are very popular to locals who like to fish, swim, or even like to enjoy their Sunday or Saturday afternoon. Because of the pipes that run through the undergrounds of Flint, they release water into these rivers and even local lakes. This causes a very serious problem because now these waters can get contaminated by the local lead poisoning, which will cause a sickness or illness to anyone who swims in this water, ingests it through the mouth, or even gets in the skin-to-skin contact. Many children are starting to believe that they are receiving an unequal educational opportunity compared to other schools all around the world. Because they do not have any clean water in their school, they feel like they are degraded and not the same as other schools who go to local schools around them. Flint children are not given the necessary resources that they deserve. Because of this contamination in schools, they have no source of clean water.
According to one of our sources, LexisNexis Academics, they go on to say that in Flint, Michigan, they are trying to find many ways to resolve this problem. The economy has developed assistance programs for the city of Flint and expanded their youth employment opportunities. They have also established a center of excellence on lead exposure in Flint to monitor the long-term health effects and have been doing research on this lead poisoning and to find the best ways to get rid of or at least minimize the severity of the the poisoning when people get sick. $5 million is what it would cost for mental health services in Flint families and children dealing with lead exposure. This happens to be more money just in this aspect alone that Michigan can handle. LexisNexis Academics also goes on to tell us that if the government cannot find a solution for lead poisoning anytime soon, the long-term effects on people can be severe. Some of those include skin lesions, hair loss, vision loss, memory loss, depression, and anxiety. And as you can tell, these effects are very strong and can change a person's life for the long run. Research also shows us that if a child is around lead contaminated water long enough, they can have their IQ affected, which results in learning disabilities in the future. If that is the case, that will take more money for the government and take more money out of their pockets to pay for all of the damage done to the young children's brains simply because this whole water crisis was in the first place the government's fault. The poor government decision that was talked of earlier happened to be made by the governor, Rick Snyder. He decided to go against the norms and not receive water from Detroit, which is what they have done for years. Flint has always relied on Detroit for water supply, and they've had pipes from Detroit to Flint, and Detroit has always been a reliable source for them. However, as I said, Rick Snyder, the governor, happened to think of a better idea and join a new water district. This new water district was a shot in the dark, and the problem that happened to occur was there was no pipe made yet, and the water just roamed free in the ground and through dirt. They decided that since they could not get the water, since they did not have any pipes, and the pipes from Detroit were already closed off, they had to get water from the Flint River so that they could save millions of dollars. That idea, as you can tell, happened to backfire against them. In the end, the Flint, Michigan community has been holding protests and standing outside government buildings, holding signs and chanting about how they want their clean water back. The government has been shipping water filters to all of the Flint houses. As you can see here, this lady received a water filter to her house, and the government paid for all of these so that everybody can get some clean water. The government also has been shipping millions of dollars of water bottles so that the community can have some clean water to survive off of and to be able to bathe themselves. In this picture, you notice a family, and here's more families getting water from the government and people who donated these. In the end, the poor judgment of some local government officials happened to go on and harm thousands of lives and young children. In the long run, millions of lives got affected since people had to share their money and water to nurture those in need. Hopefully, in a short period of time, people can find a cure for this. And to get families back to using clean water and not having to worry about lead poisoning when they use or consume a substantial element to life. And here's our references.